Now, when thinking of some of the most beloved designs in all of watchmaking, the Flieger is one that is certainly at the top of the list, or near the top of the list. And today I have a great representation of that style with the Stowa Classic Flieger. So this is a watch I'm actually going to be giving away. Stowa was nice enough to lend this in for our giveaway and offer this up. So big thank you to them, but let's jump into this review. Alright guys, so first off, if you do want to have the opportunity to win this, fill out that watch giveaway form and then make sure to follow me on Instagram as well. I make all the announcements there. You can check them in my stories as well as them being posted in the highlights on my Instagram profile. So before we get too much into the details here, I want to look at the backstory of Stowa and then also this design and furthering an appreciation for it. So Stowa is a watch brand based in Germany and have been producing watches since 1927. And now are one of the largest producers of traditional Flieger style watches in the world. Something that arose from the 1940s with different pilot watches, most importantly their Baldassarre A and B. However, shifting towards the present day, Flieger watches from the brand have now become a focal point, once again following new ownership in the 1990s. And with this change, Fliegers are at the forefront of the watches that they are most commonly known to be associated with. Which brings us to our watch here today, probably the flagship from Stowa with their Flieger Classic. So first, this watch at a glance. This watch comes in, and this is the 40mm version. So case size 40mm, case thickness we're looking at 10.2mm, lug to lug looking at 48.6mm, water resistance of 50 meters, movement is an automatic ETA 28-24-2, lug width of 20mm, crystal is sapphire both on the front and the back, and then the price of $1,000. So now this Flieger Classic line is cool for a few reasons, but one of the most just unique aspects is probably about the ability to just have quite a bit of personalization options with the movement, which I'll go into more detail later, but most visually noticeable being the option for a logo or no logo, as well as having a date or no date on the watch. And as you can tell, this particular version, both are not present in the design. Personally, I think I like that look a little bit more. However, this Flieger design is a design that is simple, but is all done with usefulness in mind for the wearer primarily, as these were traditionally made for pilots and they had to uphold incredible legibility. This watch features a black matte dial that absorbs light and eliminates pretty much all sense of reflection and contrasts really well with that Superluminova C3 filled markings on the dial. These markings include the bolded hour numerals, thick minute markings along the outside of the dial, and a luminous triangle at the 12 o'clock. A hallmark that can be found on a lot of traditional pilot Flieger style watches, and all this really meant to do was to assist in orientation at night or in poorly lit scenarios. All this movement towards legibility is furthered with temperature blued steel leaf style hour and minute hands that are also lume filled and topped off with a dip second hand that is weirdly satisfying as it sweeps around the minute track along the outside of the dial. When all put together, creates one of the most legible dials that I have seen in a watch in person, both in the light and the dark. So a lot of the same style elements translate over to the case of these watches. So the case matches a lot of that finishing of that dial with that fine matte stainless steel finish, all grounded by hand. Part of me wonders how a more contrasting finish would look with these watches. However, this in turn does draw a lot of attention to the dial, which in my mind, I think is probably the real star here, the most notable and most recognizable aspect of the watch. The watch again comes in with a 40mm case. However, you can also go with a 36mm option for those with smaller wrists, but somebody with a 6¼ inch wrist, I will say this watch wears really well. I find this 40mm the perfect size for taking a contemporary everyday interpretation of a classic style, a watch style that traditionally wears much larger. And again, 6.25 inches, 15.9 centimeters. And overall, I think this would be suitable for anybody between, say, the wrist size of 6 inches to maybe 7.5 inches. Probably would be the sweet spot, but you can certainly wear this for a variety of different wrist sizes, and I like this sizing the most. The watch also features an oversized onion-style crown, which personally could be one of my favorite aspects of this watch. Looking at it, it just makes me wish I had a manual wound version of this watch, just so I had an excuse to touch it. That sounded kind of weird. The watch comes with a leather aviation style strap, which I think fits the style. And I think this, a button strap, a rallied strap, would probably be the best suited for this watch if you're looking to switch it out. Flipping the watch over, we are greeted with an exhibition case back featuring a sapphire crystal. Along the outskirts of the crystal, we have writing calling out the different features of the watch and the brand. And at the core, we have a finished ETA 28-24-2. The workhorse ETA movement operating at 4 Hz or 28,800 vibrations per hour and has a power reserve of 38 hours. However, this watch also comes with the possibility of choosing a lot of different functions in terms of customization, one most notably the movement. So an ETA 28042 is also a potential option if you want to go for something manually wound, which apart from the notable difference of winding the watch to power, it also is a thinner movement, which lends to manual winding option being 1 millimeter thinner if you did go that route. A choice when compounded with the history of many classic Pilot watches and the onion style crown, I think makes this perhaps the better choice in my personal opinion, but reliable movement. Not the biggest fan of the rotor and just how it's finished and all the text on it, but overall I don't think you can really complain here. Reliable. But overall, this is a watch that caters to a certain type of enthusiast with a lot of connections to history and aviation. It is a watch that walks that fine line of nodding to the past while delivering a cool watch in a modern package at a price that I think is really relatively attainable. Alright guys, so what do you think of this watch? Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That's a huge way to help out the channel. And always leave comments down below. I'd like to hear what you guys think. Personally, I don't know if this is my personal taste and style, but I've always just appreciated pilot-oriented watches. I have a cousin who's a pilot, and being kind of a lifelong pursuit of his, always had admiration for these types of watches. So love to see comments down below. Also, if you want to have an opportunity to win this watch, fill out that watch giveaway form and then follow me on Instagram as well. I'll be announcing the winner very soon, so definitely keep an eye open for that. And finally, if you want to support us, head over to our website, Baldassarre.com. If you want to get pretty much any watch strap that you would ever imagine, we have them there. So it's a great way to support the content, allow us to keep doing what we're doing, and be a really big way to help us out. And then in addition, another great way to help and get an amazing watch in the process is going to the link in the description, using that link to go to Bob's Watches. By using that link to purchase anything, you can get a great watch and also support us and what we're doing here. So guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.